This is Financial Fridays, and I am Winfred Burns, your money mentor. Come on in, let's get started right away. I am excited about today's topic. This is the month of May, which is always exciting because the month of May means we've got graduations. Myself this year, I've had one relative this year graduate. So congratulations to Jordan, who graduated with her bachelor's degree. I'm very proud of you. Also, so I know you're proud of your graduates as well. So come on in the room real quick. Again, this is Winfred Burns. I am your money mentor. And like I said, we're talking to graduates today. So we want to discuss some things that as a college graduate or things as someone who is entering into the workforce that you need to know in order to set yourself or to be successful for the next several years. So if you are not a graduate, college graduate, or recent college graduate, this will be applicable for you too as well, because especially if you have some form of debt still. So I hope you guys are ready. As you come in the room, of course, make sure you say hello and then hit that share button. So if your share button is on the bottom left-hand part of your screen, hit that now so we can invite as many followers as possible, as many people as possible, to let them know that they need to hear this information. All right? Again, my name is Winfred Burns. I am your money mentor. I'm also the CEO of Global Drive Network. And I want to first invite you I also want to invite you to our R&R Summer Reset Series, where you, for 1 week, my team and my friends and I want to help you reset for the rest of the year. So we want to help you with, help you reset your physical health. We want to help you reset your mental health. We want to help you reset your relationships and a couple of other things too. So you need to sign up today. I'll put the link in the comment section, and all you got to do is put in your information so you have that. All right? Cool. So let's go ahead and get started. All right. So again, congratulations to all of my college graduates. Salute to you. You are now entering into probably, as I say, the party is now over and it is time to get to work. So in the process of that, there are a couple of things that I need to tell you in order to set yourself up for success. It seems like just yesterday, my goodness, that I graduated from Langston University, which is a historically black college in Oklahoma, if you didn't know that. And already I am approaching the big 4-0. My goodness. So again, I'm telling you this as somebody I'm giving you the same advice, I'm giving you the same information that I wish I had have done. I didn't do all of this. I wish I would have done it, but and because of that, there are some prices I am still paying for now. That's why I want to tell this information to you, and I want you to get this in as many people's hands as possible. Okay, you ready? Here we go. So I looked up the numbers, and I saw that the average person graduating from college has about $37,000, close to $38,000 in student loan debt. Wow. And in actuality, if depending on the type of school you went to, so if you went to an Ivy League school and you had to foot the bill, you didn't have any type of scholarships or things like that, you could have as much as $100,000 in student loan debt. What I also saw, which was encouraging, was that this year, this class that had just passed, has the highest starting salary that we have seen in years. So the average starting salary for this last graduating class was about $43,000, which again is as high as it's been in probably the last 6 years. So that is a very, very, very good thing. But what I want to give you guys, and I want to tell you guys, and I want to encourage you, is just because you are graduating, there are some things that you have to do today. So let's go and get into it. The first thing you've got to do is you've got to take your student loan debt and structure it so you can pay it off in 5 years. You need to structure your student loan debt so you can pay it off in the next 5 years. So even if you make a salary of $44,000, which is the average, you can, 43,000 and some change, you need to structure your budget where you can pay it off in 5 years. That in essence is a very large, not a very large, but a large car payment. Doing this will not only reduce the time frame in which you pay off your student loan, but in the process of reducing the time frame, you reduce the interest that you are paying, the amount of interest that you're paying in your student loans. So how do you do that? Very simple. Go to a calculator, go to Google, find any student loan calculator, put in the balance, your interest rate, and put in 5 years, which is 60 months, and whatever that payment is, that's what you need to send to your student loan company every month. You will be given the option to defer. You'll be given the option to put them in forbearance. You'll be given those are other options, a couple other options that you can do to lower your payments, or you can pay the standard payment, but when you do that, your interest is still accruing on your principal balance. So if you have $30,000 in student loan debt, you easily, over the course of the next several years, can get up to a balance with interest of $40,000, $45,000, $50,000. And what gets most people is because they want to kick the can down the road and not pay because they know that they'll make more later. They don't realize that those balances accrue every single day. So the longer you have a student loan, the higher the balance is going to get. So if you're not making payments on it. So what you want to do is you want to say, what would it cost me if I want to pay it 5 years? What do I need to pay each and every month in order to pay this off in 5 years? Well, Winfred, that is impossible. I have $200,000 in student loan debt. I cannot do that. Okay. Let me give you these options. Number one, if you can't, then you need to find an aggressive payment that you can pay it off in, because the minimum payment they're going to send you, the minimum payment that your student loan company is going to, if it's Navient, if it's, the U.S. Department of whoever, U.S. Department of Education, they're going to give you a repayment plan based upon you paying it off in either 15 or 20 years. It really depends, 15 or 20 years, depending on the amount that you owe, the salary you make, et cetera, et cetera. So you want to say, okay, I might not be able to pay it off in 5 years because I've got $100,000 in loans and I make $30,000 a year. That's understandable. But you can still say, instead of taking 10 years or 20 years, I'm going to take 7 years. So again, you're cutting that interest off, you're paying it off faster, and thus what you're being able to do is you're being able to use your money more wisely. Here's some other things that you can do that you have to think about doing. Unless you are married or something like that, you don't have to go out and buy the best apartment or the best house or the best car right now. At this age, you can spend the next several years really grinding, really paying debt off, so that you have, and if you do this in your 20s, so say you're 22, 23 when you graduate, if you spend the next 7 years paying this debt off, you are 30 years old, which means you have at least the next 30 years to build wealth, instead of spending most of your energy trying to work to pay off your student loan debt. Most people won't tell you this. I'm going to tell you the truth. If you do not get on top of student loan debt now, it will haunt you for a long, long time. Student loan debt cannot be, unless there is a special circumstance, you cannot file bankruptcy on student loan debt. So this is not something that will go away. This is something that will stay with you. And if you do not pay your student loan debt, every year that you file your taxes and get a tax return, they will take it until you are at least caught up. So you again want to make sure that you stay on top of your student loan debt. Again, set up a 5-year payment agreement with yourself that even if it means you've got to pay $600, $700 a month in order to get it paid off, pay it off. Pay it off. I promise you, it is very well worth it. Number two, the two thing you have to do is you have to begin to establish smart credit. To begin to establish credit smart. If you are the type of person, if you're the type of student who did not get any credit while you were in college, right now, you probably don't have any. And if you did, and you didn't totally ruin it like some of us did, trying to buy, I don't think they still do the t-shirts and pencils or whatever, but you didn't spend all this, you didn't ruin your credit, then what you need to start doing is establishing smart credit. How do you do that? I'm glad you asked. So you can do a couple of things. I don't suggest, like I said, buying a brand new car, but you can buy something used, buy something that's, has a very small payment, and use that and drive that as a way to establish credit. You can there are credit cards for people who do not have credit. There also is called secured credit cards. So a lot of your banks, a lot of your credit cards will offer you secured credit cards, which are credit cards where you put the money down, so you can give them $250, $500. They put it in a secured savings account or a certificate of deposit, and you use this credit card to establish credit. Now, I do not recommend you running the balance up every month and then running it down. What I do recommend you do is to buy something, let that amount hit your statement, and then paying it off. So if you buy, say for example, if you use this card to buy your groceries every month, then at the end of that month, you pay it off. You pay it off in full, and you continue to do that. What you are doing is you are establishing smart credit. And typically with a secured card, after you've had it for a year or two and you've shown a good payment history, what they will do is they will then turn into a good credit card. Now, there are cards that you can get with no credit, but typically these cards come with annual fees and with exorbitantly high interest rates. So these are your cards like your First Premier card is a great example, where if you get one, there's, I believe, is like a $25 a month fee, or used to be a $25 a month fee. And then if you don't charge something for that month, they charge you for that as well. So those need to be your last resort, because again, you don't want to spend a whole lot of money. You don't want to spend a whole lot of money on fees and interest again. Okay. So that's ways that you can establish smart credit. Another thing you can do to establish smart credit again is if you are an authorized user on a card or on an account. So if you have an authorized user on somebody's card or somebody's account, then that will again help you, as long as it's being paid properly. That will help you build smart credit. Okay, so that's the second thing. So again, we talked about paying your student loans off in 5 years. Then we talked about establishing smart credit. The third thing that I need you to do is I need you to begin to invest immediately. Yes, immediately begin to set up some type of investment. So when I say an investment, I'm referring to either if you are going to work in a company, from day one, establishing a 401k in your company, participating in the program. Look to see what your program offers. So there are still companies who match or who will, go dollar for dollar. So they'll say, we'll match you, 3% up to the first $10,000, something like that. I definitely recommend doing that as well, because the sooner you get in the habit of saving, the sooner you can, or the easier it's going to be to do it long term. There are always going to be reasons, excuses, for you not to do it. But if you do it early on, if you set it up automatically, then it'll be money that you'll never really see and that you'll never really miss. Okay. I also recommend, that you set up some type of savings account where automatically the money comes out of it. So if your company does not do where you can set up, most companies have where you can set up your direct deposit to where a certain percentage or a certain dollar amount automatically goes into a savings account. Do that from day one, and you can do it in a small amount. So because we're trying to aggressively initially pay off student loan debt, even if you just do $50 per pay period into this savings account, which is $600 a year. That's going to, number one, get you in the habit of saving. Number two, it's going to help you. So in a few years, when you get ready to do something, you have it. Number three, if an emergency comes up, you'll have this money on hand. And then number four, again, the goal it will be is after you get to a certain dollar amount, for you to be able to take that money and move it into something else that you can get a higher return. You're not going to get a great return on a savings account, but again, you want to establish this so you have, number one, again, like I said, you get the practice of saving. Number two, you have the money there in case of an emergency. And number three, again, we're trying to establish long-term wealth for you. And then as you begin to make more money, or as you begin to do certain things, like say if you're ready to buy a house, then you also could have, this could be a part of your down payment money, so you're not trying to scramble at the end once you get to that point, okay? All right, so then the other thing you want to do, so we talked about paying off debt, paying off your student loan. We talked about establishing smart credit. We're talking about saving. And then the fourth thing I want you to do is I want you to look for opportunities as you're doing this to begin to invest in either real estate or begin to start your own side business, your own side hustle. Now, if you are an entrepreneur, then obviously this is something. If your goal is maybe in a couple of years to become an entrepreneur, or your goal is entrepreneur in a couple of years, you're going to do that probably in a different order. But you want to start looking for something that you can do on the side. Why do I say that? We live in a culture and we live in a society where, unfortunately, your company is not going to always give you the type of raises that you want to have. It's just reality. You're going to probably, depending on the company you make or you work for, the type of industry that you're in, you might get a 3% raise a year. Well, I want you to be in control of the flow of your cash flow. The other thing I never want you to do is I never want you to be in a position where the sole source of all of your income comes from one place. Because in doing that, if something happens, so we just went through a situation in 2007 where because of the real estate bubble burst, that we lost a lot of jobs. We're going to have another burst. It most likely will not be in the real estate industry, but it's going to be in another industry that you're going to see the stock market, that industry is going to fall apart, and it's going to have an effect on a negative effect on the country. And so you need to be prepared. If your company decides they want to downsize, if your company decides that it wants to right size, or they don't want to give you a raise, or even if you just get sick and tired of where you are and want to move, that you have the flexibility to do that. For those of you, and so I want you to be able to say, okay, if I don't have this job, I still have money coming in from at least this one other source or this two other sources. I tell people that the average millionaire, I've read the average millionaire has 7 sources of income. I'm only asking you right now to have 2. We can get into 7 later, but at least now begin to develop your second one. So again, that as you're growing in your company, as you're growing, that you can also grow your own business. And it can be very simple. Find something that you like. Find a hobby that you enjoy. Find something that you already are doing for free, and find out how you can monetize that. If you're somebody who enjoys whatever it is, you can figure out how to monetize just about anything. And I'm saying do this now, because the other part of this is as you get older, your energy levels are not going to be high. My goodness, energy levels not going to be as high, and you're going to have more responsibility. So if you don't have children now, you might have children, and they're going to take up your time. If you're not married now and you choose to get married, that means that your time is going to have to be spent with your family as well. So use this time now that you can begin to build those other sources of income. All right. And then here's the last thing, and then I'm going to let you go. The last thing that I'm recommending that you do. So we talked about, let's recap real quick. We talked about paying off your student loan debt in 5 years. We talked about building smart credit. We talked about investing in real estate or starting your own business. And then the last thing I need you to do is I need you to continue to educate yourself. Just because you are finished with college, just because, or if you didn't go to college and you chose to go into the workforce right out of high school, just because you chose to do that does not mean your education ends. You will forever be a student if you are smart. You will always be learning something, even if you have, my degree is in finance, but I still study finance on a daily basis because you have to always make sure that you are up on top of the latest technology, up on top of the latest rules. You've got to learn where your industry is going. You've got to understand how you can continue to remain relevant in your field or in your industry. You want to establish yourself as the go-to person for whatever it is that you do, because that is how you are going to thrive in this economy. That's how you're going to stand out from your competitors. All right. So I hope those things help you. Those are the 5 things that I want you to do. Last but not least, here's something else I want you to think about too. I want you to also think about, even though this isn't this is a bonus. The bonus is I want you to think about how can you make yourself your own personal brand. That's what I want you to think about. How can I make myself my own personal brand? Because I do believe there also comes a time, most of us, I'm probably one of the few, actually, well, one of the few people I know who actually works in the field that they got a degree in. And so there might come a time where you no longer like what you do and you want to do something else. However, even if you change careers, you still are your own personal brand. Again, my degree is in finance. I work in finance, but I also work in media. I don't have a degree in media, but when I chose to start Global Drive, which is a media company, I don't. That's not what my degree is in, and so therefore, this was something totally new to me that I had to continue to. That I'm still continuing to learn how to do. And so you've got to, as long as even if if I go into something else, I'm still myself, and my brand does not change because I change. I'm not going to change. So I might change my field, but I'm not changing, and people still need to know who I am, not just what I do. So how can you develop a personal brand based upon what you're doing currently? Think about it. All right. I hope this helps. I hope that was helps paying. Yes. Thank you, Shanita. Girl, you all right with me. All right, so here we go. Credit building, investment saving, multiple sources of income. You got them all. You got them all. All right. So I hope you guys are having a good rest of the day. I hope you enjoy your weekend. I hope if you're not doing something fun, take a minute to do something fun. And again, for college graduates, let me tell you guys this. Again, I said it earlier, I'm going to say it again. Spend the next 5 to 7 years working your butt off, and I can promise you it will pay off. It will pay off in hundreds of thousands and possibly millions of dollars if you leverage this next 7 years properly. Okay? Pay off your debt. I did some calculations earlier, the same $600 a month that I just told you to pay in student loan debt, if you invested that same, do it yourself. Take $600 times 6% for 20 years. $600 times 6%. You're going to put in $600 a month into an investment for 20 years and tell me how much money you're going to come away with. Probably close to $500,000. All right? And I can tell you, if you do that, again, that is money that you are just, again, putting into a retirement plan. 6%, I say 6% because that is the average return of the stock market historically. But you can, again, if you leverage that into other things like real estate, you can, doing things like that, you can make a ton of money. Starting your own business, it's a lot of money to be made. Hey, Aaron, how you doing? It's a lot of money to be made, and I want you to position yourself to be able to do it. All right? All right, y'all, I love you. I appreciate you. Again, hit the share button. Make sure, if you have college graduates, please put them onto this information. I will put this on my YouTube channel, so if you have not subscribed to my YouTube channel, it's Winfred Burns II, do that. So this will be loaded on there probably in the next couple of days. If not, you can always catch this on Facebook Live or anywhere else. All right, guys. Love you guys. Have a good rest of your day. I'll talk to you soon.